Hi, folks. Old Humble Guy here. And, it's just a little bit, it's just after Christmas, right after the New Year. I think it's time that we talk about some of these Christmas gifts we might have gotten, these little baby barrels. What is the deal with these little barrels? Do they do anything? Are they worth the price? What is it that they do exactly? Well, let's answer the first question right away. Yes, they do something. They're definitely a thing that these guys do. In fact, I'm a true believer in small barrels. This is my 5-gallon barrel that we use in our distillery. I'm a true believer in small barrels. We don't use 1 liter barrels like this, but they do absolutely do something. The thing that they do is they restart the aging process. Your whiskey in the bottle is not aging. That 15-year-old scotch that you've had for 10 years is not a 25-year-old scotch. It is a 15-year-old scotch that you've had sitting on your shelf for 10 years. Drink that already. Come on, man. That whiskey's been waiting to be consumed. Consume it already. It's not becoming any better in that bottle. You're just risking the bottle breaking or falling over or whatever. Find a special occasion. Drink the whiskey already. But if you take that whiskey or a marginal whiskey or a cheap budget whiskey and you put it in one of these 1 liter barrels, what you're going to do is restart that aging process because that's what these little barrels do. And it works on the surface area to volume principle that goes with all barrels. The smaller the barrel, the larger the surface area compared to the volume is, because if you double the size of a barrel, you've increased the volume by 8, but you've increased the surface area by 4. So the larger you make the barrel, the larger the volume is as a ratio to the surface area, slowing down the aging process. The aging process continues, but it slows down. The bigger the barrel gets, the slower the process goes. But with these little barrels, you can do in about 6 to 10 days what you can do in 5 to 7 years in a 50-gallon barrel. Now, when you start with a already aged whiskey, you're starting with a whiskey that's already got usually 4 to 7 years already in the barrel. So all you're doing is imparting fresh new flavor into that whiskey. Is it going to make it better? Is it going to make it worse? I don't like to use those terms. I prefer to say it'll make it different. It's definitely going to change the flavor because you're definitely putting new char compounds and new barrel compounds into that whiskey. It's definitely going to change the flavor, and that's up to your flavor palate as to whether or not it makes it better or worse. Definitely going to change it. The real question, though, is it worth it? Because this is a $50 1 liter barrel. These little 1 liter barrels run $50 to $65 usually, depending on where you go and get them. And you can, if you buy a $15, $20 bottle of whiskey or vodka, a $10, $12 bottle of vodka or rum or tequila or whatever, and you put it in these barrels, I don't think you're going to get an extra $50 worth of value into the flavor. You're definitely going to get something that nobody's ever had before, that doesn't show up on the shelf anywhere else, that has a very unique flavor because you're aging it in your kitchen in a very unique condition to anywhere else. But are you going to get $50 worth of extra value on it? That's subjective because, it's your hobby, it's what you do, it's what you enjoy. I know that there are cheaper methods to getting that same flavor into your bottle. Specifically, you can get charred coils of oak. You go to Amazon, look up charred coils of oak. They're like $5, $10 for a 2-pack, something like that. And you drop it right into the bottle, and you get the same process in the same amount of time for a fifth of the price. And you can do it only for 1 bottle, but you can do it, for the same price. You can do it for 5 bottles or 10 bottles. Um, where this one can probably only be reused about 3 times before you've gotten all the flavor and char out of it. And you can do with the char coils whatever you want with whatever kind of bottle you do it with. Now, if you go into a little bit larger barrel than a 1 liter, then you can start mixing together different whiskeys and start making like blends of whiskeys aged in a barrel with a little scotch and a little rye or a little bourbon or something like that. So 1.5 to 2 gallons on up, you can start mixing flavors together and start getting some really interesting stuff. But as far as the 1 liter size goes for $50, man, I'd almost recommend you just spend that $50 on a bottle of whiskey and just go from there. And then if you want to play around with the flavor, get one of those charcoals. Go to Amazon, get one of those charcoals. So, do they do anything? Yes, indeed. Is it worth the price? Not for my pocket. But by all means, continue to explore the world of whiskey. Continue to explore your hobby. Continue to try new things and expand your reach and expand your palate because, man, it's a wonderful world out here in whiskey and it is delicious. Absolutely delicious. Stay awesome to each other. Talk to y'all later.